Trap Supreme. Trap Supreme. Trap Supreme.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching us from. My name is Fed, and then we'll be continuing in our podcast session today, discussing the book A Fool at 40, written by our very own Dr. Kayode. With me, we have bright minds this evening, and then we would all be discussing a particular topic in this book together. So with me is Gabriela Chisom Nambi. You're welcome. With me is Dr. Blessing, and with me also is Dr. Kayode. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a very interesting story to discuss in this book. And with me also. And then I would like to start by asking, why is failure looking like a very distant concept to so many persons, especially the average class people? Let me start with Dr. Blessing. Failure, right? A lot of persons see failure to be something very far, not close to them. Why do you think most average class people are in that position? Because of course, successful people will tell you, I've seen failure face to face. I mean, we look at ourselves, right? So why do you think failure is like a distant concept to people of average class?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. So, yeah, that's a fact, and I think it's because many people fail to try things, take risks. I mean, failure mostly comes from when you are trying to do something big. When you are trying to, like Dr. Kayode would say, trying to bite more than you can chew. So, if you are an average person, you are not taking any risk. You are not taking any risk. You are not trying to do anything. You are not trying to make any big impact or attempt. So you are just living normally. You are just waking up, sleeping, eating. You are just existing biologically. So you feel like you are normal. Failure is not something that you are used to, and it's not because. And it's not because you have made it. It's not because you are exceptional. It's just because you are not trying things. You are not taking risks. So I think that's why people feel failure is like distant from you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Dr. Kayode, I want to ask, because the topic, the subtopic we're discussing in this book says, I made failure feel like a tattoo. And of course, it's not because you wrote failure on your head. I just failed. So what exactly what do you mean when you say I made failure feel like a tattoo? Like, is it that you were telling everybody you met that I failed, or there was this sad look you just put on, like, what exactly do you mean by saying that I made failure feel like a tattoo?
Okay, thank you, Fred. I think one of the things I didn't quickly learn is to think failure is the opposite of success. So, what's an opposite? If it is white, the opposite of white is black. So we see failure as something that is opposite success. So if you're not succeeding, you're failing, you will be sad, right? The biggest lesson I learned is that failure is not opposite, it is part of it. So it's on your journey to success, there will be plenty of failure, and you will have to learn to embrace it and not be ashamed of it. Right. So when failure becomes something like a tattoo, it leaves a stigma in your life, and you feel like, somebody came to meet me within the course of the week, and with the narration of the person's problem, you already know that the person is already thinking himself as a failure. It is part and parcel of success. It is not opposite it. So when you learn in fact, I usually tell people, wake up every morning and embrace failure. And say, oh, you dealt with me today, right? No problem. I've learned from it and I will move forward. The moment we don't stigmatize the process that we eventually will call failure, the more we embrace it, I think the better will come. I failed a few years ago. I made a detour, and that costed me the entire business, and it ruined my self-esteem. And it took me almost a year to tell myself that this thing I'm thinking has ruined me is part of that process, and I need to embrace it so that I can come out openly and laugh about it. When I share those stories now, I laugh. It was from that process I learned that just laugh at failure and don't let it be something that reduces your self-esteem or your ego.
Okay, thank you. That's right. So, Chisom, have you failed before?
Is that a question?
Yes, have you failed before?
I failed a lot, actually.
How exactly did you feel about failure?
I think failure before now is something I literally dreaded a lot. I think for those around me, I would put it as one of my greatest fears to fail. But now I realize that just don't just stay down. The best part is when you fall down, stand up. Just stand up. So that's just there.
Okay, all right. So we have a system now, right? Especially coming to education, right? We've been taught from primary school how that if you take last, they call it, permit the word orupo, like in Yoruba. Apologies to those who don't understand Yoruba. So we've been, over the years, passing through that system has instilled in us some concrete and solid mindset that it takes intentionality to want to deconstruct. If I fail in school, I could remember in those days, normally growing up, I used to cry when I'm hungry. So I cry for food. Like I cry for food. But this particular day I failed. I came back, I was hungry, I couldn't cry. Because I exactly know what I would, the kind of lashes I would receive from my parents saying that you failed. So, that Dr. Blessing, so that mindset has been, built over time, right? So an average person has that mindset that if I don't do well, if there's no labeling of success in a particular adventure, then I have failed. So it's a national concern, right? What do you think you can suggest? Let's say we have the opportunity to speak, maybe to the president. What do you think you can suggest as touching, the way the nation as a whole, the youth of the nation, an average person in the nation views failure? What do you think you can suggest?
Okay, yeah. I think it's something that has been discussed here before. There was a time when Dr. Kayode said, I don't know if that was a joke, that he wanted to create a school and there won't be exams. Yeah, so let me use myself as an example. I used to be a very serious student before COVID-19. In fact, I was topping my class. But when we came back, so that whole year at home, 2021, 2020, I saw a different side of what I was doing. So I now discovered that this person's opinion of me failing is different from my own perspective of failing. So how I saw failure in 2020 was not being able to afford basic things and also to provide for my mother. So when I came back, I changed my mindset. My entire life changed from when I came back. So I was in 400 level. So throughout 400 level to 500, 600 level, I've not done what I used to do again. So back to your question, my suggestion will now be self-realization. Dr. Kayode has used one illustration for us when they were judging different animals based on climbing the tree. So, and that could only favor some that are naturally built to climb trees. So, self-realization, you yourself know what you want. I know the country is already shaping our destiny in some kind of way, starting from JAMB. You want to read medicine, they give you agriculture. They've already altered whatever you want. So now, that is not the end. Somebody has to discover themselves and know what success means to them. So that is how to gauge failure or success personally. If I do this, when we were in school, somebody, if he scores B, he has failed. Right? So that's what it means to him. And he has discovered himself. He wanted to be a lecturer. So now it's a true failure to him. But to me, that's not a failure.
I mean, like a B, right?
Yeah. So I think people should discover themselves and grade themselves, grade their failure or success based on what they want to do, what they want to be, and what they actually are. So that would be my
Dr. I think I have two questions, but let's start with this. So when you talk about failure and being average, which do you think is better? When you talk about you having B, you consider that as average. C, average, right? You did not fail, but you did not also do exceptionally well. And I think many persons fall in that category, but still okay with C. Do you think being average is more of an enemy than failing?
So I think there's a fundamental thing we all need to learn, right? Because subconsciously we are still reproducing the school system. B could be a failure for him, and B could be the best for me. We are individuals. It's the school system that brings the word average, B. This grading thing is a school system. We need to shatter it. Your DNA is unique to you. Your fingerprint is unique to you.
Yeah.
So what could be B and be like a failure to somebody could be like the biggest miracle for another person. It is you that you need to be concerned, benchmarking what you have or what you have gotten with your goal. This idea around judging or grading people, take it away. If I go into a school system and all I want is a C because I'm dividing my time with another life skill that I think will be beneficial. In fact, Steve Jobs got to a point where he said when he dropped out, he still stayed in the school for over a year, just attending the class that he wants to learn. So some people could be that crazy. Some people will have their entire life depend on what somebody else has to say about them. We were here when Dr. Unduaka said that they didn't allow him go, failed him intentionally, not because his content wasn't okay, but because he had not gone to pay homage to people. We need to kill people's opinion of ourselves and ensure that once you are over 18, you should be strong enough to define what success is for you and what is not success. Once we are not that strong, then it will become pretty very difficult to be your best. So let's leave failure, let's leave average. It is you versus you, and not what any other person thinks about you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Kayode. Okay, maybe I should ask you something, and then I'll come back to you. So, with failure comes this thing called shame, and I think that's the toxic aspect of failure. That's the part that keeps us moody. That's the part that makes us disbelieve in ourselves. That's the part that makes us feel very bad. You know, that's the part that makes us think, in fact, what is, because when you talk about shame, you know, I don't know if you've observed, there are times that we maybe go into a classroom or a hall, there are different persons, and something just makes us feel like everybody is looking at us. Meanwhile, if you would take survey, right, and ask sincere questions from people, they don't even notice you.
Yeah.
Maybe, for example, maybe you have a part of your shoe that is torn, and possibly people did not observe, but something about you just makes you feel like everybody, you know, have their eyes on you. So when it comes to failure, we can synonymously say shame comes along. Now, the last time you failed, I believe shame came. Am I correct?
Of course.
So, what did you do to shame?
What did I do to shame? The last time I failed, what did I didn't do anything to shame, sincerely. I stayed there. I got depressed for some time, and I'm a believer, so I prayed and prayed, oh God, help me, blah blah blah. Read the Bible, pray again, cry, get depressed. Stay there for some time. Then just along the way, something just kicks in. Say, okay, you failed. So what next? Do you want to stay there in that mud, in that dirt? So I just tell myself, so who cares?
Okay, because thank you. You know, for some persons, right, the shame has a downward slope.
Yeah.
A lot.
But for some persons, the shame has upward slope.
My own
Because the more they keep realizing that, this person heard about it too.
Yeah,
This person heard about it
keeps
too.
increasing.
The magnitude of that shame, you know,
Yeah.
begins to increase. So, Dr. Kayode, I really have looked at shame and say, what can she do? Because
You have to do that.
I believe true freedom, right, about failure, when it comes to failure, will really come to you when you are able to master shame. I mean, I don't know how to put it. We are able to look at shame and say, shame, I love you. You know, because at that point, you're not thinking of what people are saying.
Yeah.
So how do we drive ourselves to that point where we're not concerned with shame? You know, sorry, just to before you speak, sir, you know, okay, I have a privilege of knowing you a bit, and then, you know, I see you, and you can still walk nowhere on the road. I mean, you can still pick bike and then not, it doesn't even concern you. What are people thinking? I can't imagine being that shoe for now, you know. I mean, just take back normal, so I don't carry me, you know. So how exactly have you been able to conquer shame?
These days, master, people get more ashamed for me
For you,
than I am for myself. I know they get worried, and I barely think about that. Something fundamental changed me, more of a personal story. So I will just paraphrase. I had a character issue, and I was the pastor of a church, and it ate me over and over and over again. And at a point, I realized that rather than feel bad about that, I got concerned about what others feel. See, if you believe in judgment, it is you and God. God is not going to call people and say that, okay, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? What don't you think about this? It is you and God. If you understand that, right, take out the burden of what people feel about you. everybody who succeed has to come to that point where whether people think you're stupid or okay, so look at the title of the book. I said A Fool at 40. And I went to take a picture and I told the cameraman, I said, I need a picture that makes me look unserious. So I went there with a toothpick. So he now said, why am I looking for a picture that makes me feel unserious? I said, I'm writing a book. I now told him the title of the book. I now said, he's a fool at 40. He said that he will advise me not to put my face on that book. There was really nobody I told that a book is coming out and is a fool. Some will want to address that book and say, maybe that now I'm wise before. I said, you could still be at 40 and could still be carrying the weight of other people's opinion. Unfortunately, right? No matter how well you carry the weight, people move on. You will just realize that you are not the only thing in their life. Check all the trends of Twitter. Somebody had something similar to what I had and committed suicide. Don't overblow people's thoughts about you. Once you are at peace with yourself, sometimes you could honestly make mistakes. Grow over those mistakes and move on. Once you can do that, then you can, I think that's the moment you even succeed. Because again, you're free to be you. You're free to live. You're free, and pardon me to use the word, to be God. Because again, you've dropped the weight of other people's opinion and you're not living. That's why I can wake up and say, we can build from looking for money. And then I said, we can build something big. Some of the things we attempt today is because I've lost the ability to fear to my death. So, shame, they are just very, 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 very stupid words that come because you have carried people too much to heart. You need to remove people and be yourself.
Thank you so much, Dr. K. Because Dr. Blessing, still buttressing on the point of shame. It's a very serious matter. Like, it's really a very serious matter because you get to a point where all you think, because at that juncture of failure, you will even realize that all through your thought process, 95% was how will people think?
Yes, people think.
If this person here that I failed, my fiancée, will she believe in me again? 95% of your thought process, feeling sober, feeling bad, is all about people. And even yourself, who is the major matter that you're supposed to be more concerned about, you feel, you give less attention to yourself. What exactly do you think is responsible for pushing people to that point where you are more concerned about external factors than internal factors? Meanwhile, true change happens when internal change occurs. What exactly do you think is responsible?
Well, I honestly think it's a very complicated matter because individual will respond to it differently, and the way we deal with these things sometimes has to do with what is currently at stake. Sometimes we are actually we'll be interested in what people think about us. I was trying to do something sometimes, and some person says, they said, I'm very proud. Whereas I was not talking to them because I was feeling like they would not talk to me. So they were also feeling the same way, that I'm proud, that's why I'm not responding to them. So I took some step back and thought about my life. I was like, that means these people that I thought they were thinking this way were not actually thinking this way. So if someone just failed and they are feeling ashamed, and they are thinking because of this person, because of this person, because of this person, they will realize that they are actually the one creating those opinions.
Yeah.
People are very busy. Everybody is focusing on one thing or the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
So once we realize that everybody has what they are dealing with,
Yeah.
we discover that most of the problem we are creating in our head, they don't even exist.
Yeah.
If you say your own, what is making you ashamed? If the other person say what they are dealing with, you pity for them.
Yeah.
So once we get to that level,
Yeah.
we deal with shame as just something we are passing by.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay, thank you, Douglas. Chisom, so do you think in this equation, right, of handling failure, do you think there's necessarily a provision for us to give room to what people think, or is something we're supposed to totally just take out?
Handling
Because I believe
failure.
that, so before you answer, I believe that no matter what it is, there are some people's opinion in our lives that we believe matters. So do you think it's something we're just supposed to block out totally? Whatever anybody think, my father, my mother, my uncle. Do you understand? Do you think it's something we're supposed to totally block out, or do you think we're supposed to make some allowance, some space, right, for what some other persons think, some particular set of persons?
For me, I would say you should not make allowance for people's opinions that are not necessary. For example, when doctor was teaching, I think last week, he said something. He said, "Who do you talk to?
Yeah.
Talk to when
Yeah.
you're, when you're going through stuff." So the person you're talking to, like your mentor, what's that person's opinion about that issue? That person's opinion should be the thing that you constantly put in your head. But fortunately enough, for most of us, we like to carry every other person's opinion even higher than that of even the person we claim that person is our mentor, to the point where we forget that the person said it's fine, and we're like, oh, this person is looking at me like this person must have heard that I did. This person is already thinking. This person is already. So you start. I think even if you're making, the person should be as important, like should be an important part of your life. And when I say important part of your life, the person should hold you in high esteem, just the same way you also hold them in high esteem. I think.
Okay. So thank you, Chisom. Dr. K, because taking examples from the Holy Book, right? Jesus had 12 disciples, right? That he walked. Of course, we know he had the 500, we know he had the 120, we know he had the 70, we know he had the 12, he had the 3, even amidst the 3, he had 1. And then there's some certain times that he would be in some certain situation and then he will not share it with the 12. He will share it with the 3. And furthermore, of course, we know what happened between himself and John the Beloved, right? Now, do you think there should be a number to people we ought to, give that allowance for? Like, people ought to give that allowance for, like, I mean, whatever this person says, it matters. In this my shame I'm facing like this, I need to give provision for this number of persons. Do you think, can we give it 3, 12? Do you think there should be a number to?
Okay, so I might not approach it from the angle of giving it a number. I would just say, do what works for you at time, right? And what I encourage people to do is to evolve, learn and evolve and be better. And human beings generally have intuition. There are people you will talk to, initially, and even just still last week we were in a meeting and somebody said something and a particular part of me just evolved. I had to consciously say, this thing this person is saying is correct. So I have the ability to fight when an idea doesn't align with what it is I want for it to be aligned with, right? So it's a level. There's another level that looks at people's defect and is still optimistic about them. Right. Some you will tell them you have failed, and the way they will respond to you, you will leave their presence feeling worse.
That's true.
Some you will tell them you have failed, and you will leave their presence with a relieving smile. You just feel like you're unburdened.
Yeah.
And you will just feel calm. they will make you feel like this thing happens to all of us. Some, they won't share stories of how their own is worse. That is a stage. This thing, just don't worry. As long as there's life,
There's hope.
there's hope. So until you find people who brings out the better version of you, you don't have a number. So don't go about, I suggest looking for, it has to be 12, it has to be 3, it has to be 4. Go looking for people that you can feel at home with. You know, there are people and those are about the best people I want to have around me, where you are not afraid to be you. They understand every part, they understand almost everything, but they still respect you for you, and then they still believe there's a better version of you that can emerge. So once you find those sort of people, stay with them. If you're lucky and it is 4, fine. If you're lucky and it is 1, fine. If you're lucky and it is 12, then don't do any other thing, just stay with them. But to find people who brings out the better version of you anytime you meet them, they are priceless people. If you're with somebody and your thought is getting better by the day, please stay around those people, because they are not really that common.
Okay, thank you so much. I know we're already out of time, and just 1 more minute, but I would like us to share a particular thought, in 30 seconds, if possible. So, because averagely we know when to start. Most times the issue is when to stop. And even to these people we're talking about that we can give some space to, the truth is there will come a time that we might really need to stop giving them space. And that's very difficult because, over time, and because there are some level of emotional attachment that have developed over time, right? And then those people keep, there's a time that you really just want to tell you the hard truth, like tell you how it is. But over time, these people might have developed some emotional attachments with us, and they are always in the business of wanting to make us feel better. When really what we actually need at that moment is somebody to really tell us the stern truth, that will make us make progress. So, Chisom, when do you think we're supposed to stop giving those set of persons allowance? In 10, 20, 30 seconds.
For me, I would say the persons I have in my life that I actually talk to, most of them don't actually sugarcoat anything. That's the funniest part. Most of them don't actually sugarcoat anything. But I would say basically, when you notice this person starts, this thing is black. Even from a blind person's point of view, this thing is black. So the moment that person starts making you feel like, I know it's black, but it can be white. Just to make you feel nice.
Deception,
that kind of make you feel like,
make you feel good.
I know there are some persons that can advise you and make you feel like that point where you feel like you're failing at, or you're not even, how would I put it now? That thing where you feel like, okay, you did something wrong and you can do better. Some persons actually make you feel like that thing you did wrong is actually good, and you can continue with it, and there's nothing wrong there. Yes, you can actually, there are people that can also tell you, yes, people actually do this thing, there's nothing wrong there, but you can do better and you can strive to be better. I think those are the kind of persons. And when you realize that, okay, this person is becoming partial to some extent, for me, I feel you just...
when they tell you that even a dead clock is correct twice in a day. Instead of telling you to go and change the battery, that's why.
It's giving you funny excuse of why.
Thank you, Jesus. Let's hear from you. When do you think you should stop? You should cut those persons off. People who you've actually given that space, to before. When do you think you're supposed to cut yourself off?
Okay, so I do think that as human beings, normally we actually know the truth. Sometimes we are just looking for who will make us feel good. And then, so we have this, our natural intuition is actually the body of wisdom for us. So me, when I'm trying to make people like I don't know how to put it now, but I want to deal with people that are kind, not people that are nice. Once you discover that this person is just becoming nice, that means they just want to make you feel good. They just want to, although maybe we need some people like that for some situations, but for some certain things, we actually need people that are kind. For example, let's say you have a mucus on your face now, Somebody that is nice may don't want to tell you so that you don't feel bad. But somebody that is kind will tell you so that you won't be carrying that thing around. So
Yeah.
once we discover that this person is just becoming like an emotional,
Nice
you know,
person.
yeah. So
Yes.
we know that we need to draw back.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dr. Blessing. Dr. Kayode.
All right, so I think I want to pick from where Dr. Blessing stopped. So that's very okay. I also want to add that judge based on what impact anything is having on you. At every single point in time, any progressive person needs to feel he's being stretched. I will get bored if I'm not stretched. So if I'm comfortable and there's nothing to wake up to see or to be, then I know that I'm being stagnated. So I look out for, do I feel like waking up? Is there a bigger challenge ahead of me? If I don't have that kind of drive, I look out for people that can push me to have that drive. I don't want to hear I'm handsome. I don't want to hear I'm rich. I don't want to hear, there are some things people you say to patronize you. It doesn't really matter, right? Can you point me to a bigger self of me that I'm not aware of? So whatever language or whatever it is that you say within that, I look out for the effect. Does it drive me to be a better person? If it drives me, then I will stick at it.
Okay. Okay, our beautiful audience, I believe you've learned a lot. Look at failure at the face to face, and say, what can she get? Look at shame and say, what can she get? Do you understand? Yes, failure is not the end of it. Failure is part of the process. Failure is not the opposite process. It's rather part of the process. So learn to embrace failure and make something good out of it. Until next time, I remain my humble self, Fed. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chisom. Thank you, Dr. Blessing. Thank you, Dr. K. All right, see you next
Well, let's get this going. So, good afternoon, everyone. And then it's nice to have us all here again. We've been talking around the subject mastery unleashed. And one of the big desire I have is that out of this series, one master will emerge. I'd love to see that the master emerge. We took a series before this series. We spoke around money. And I remember telling most of us that any fool can make money. Any fool can make money. You don't need to change yourself. I had a guest one particular point in time, and the person was analyzing how much people who own lottery business, how much they make. The owner of Baba Ijebu bought a foreign club. This Baba Ijebu you see in local places, everywhere, go and Google the owner. He bought a foreign club. The number of investment he has. So, just anybody can make money. Just anybody. Just anybody. You can find money, you can steal money. So money has become more like a symbol of success. Mastery, you cannot steal it. You will have to be it to do it. So I already understand that the subject mastery will demand you. Not just demand you, it will change the core of who you are. So it's a tougher version of our series. You will not be a Michael Jordan overnight. You will not be a Serena Williams. You will not be an Amosu overnight. You will not be Anthony Joshua overnight. You can pass down money to people. You cannot pass down mastery. So everybody will have to be committed if mastery is what is at stake. So let me go over what we did the first 3 weeks briefly. When we started the series, the first thing we talked about, or what I wanted everybody to know, is that the way things are designed, the society has not designed that you will become a master naturally. So you are swimming up something difficult. You are climbing a mountain. You can fall freely, you cannot climb freely. A fool can fall. A mad person can fall. The law of gravity ensures that whoever you are, you obey. But to defy gravity, you will need another formation. And there are things defiling gravity. Airplane. Airplane defies gravity. You cannot be normal and defy the norm. It cannot be normal. You've been designed to be lost in the crowd. There are more people that are known for nothing than people that are known for something. You've been designed to be lost in the crowd. There are over 7 billion people on earth, climbing up to 8 billion. We have very few masters. So the odds are already against you, and you must understand that. So to begin this mastery journey is to answer a fundamental question, and I want us to pay attention. I want us to pay attention. The fundamental question that you will need to ask and answer is, what will I do that the world won't forget? Don't forget, I said a lot of people will live life being lost in the crowd. Is the norm. That is the default setting. You are already programmed to be lost in the crowd. To jack yourself out requires a level of realization. Requires a level of realization. Unfortunately, we have loaded people aiming at nothing. We have loaded guns shooting at nothing, living lives every day without a goal of being distinct or different. So we got on a story of Lion King. Story, Lion King. So we have this master who was already preparing his son to be master after him. Unfortunately, Mufasa, life happened to him. He was being betrayed by his own brother, and he lost his life. Maybe I should take a moment to talk to people looking up to someone and got disappointed or lost that person, and tell you you can still pick up, right? So Mufasa died, but Scar did something that the people who control this world does. Like the people who really control this world, that's what they do. They send fear to your heart. Send fear. Planned fear, intentional fear. They punish you for any deviation. And they've systematized it into our school system. They ensure fail is in red, so that it could look like your blood, or more importantly, look like you. So when you get your report card, the red color is more attractive than the blue color. The blue is calmer. So you have been subconsciously trained to focus on the path of you that is weak. You have to understand this. I know sometimes people find this part boring. It's because the reason why you are still comfortable is because you don't know that the whole system was designed to stop you from emerging. He said, and when you become restless, you will break your hold, break the chain. So they sowed fear into the heart of Simba and said, you killed your father. You are the reason why your father died. So Simba ran far away from his destiny, far away from his kingdom. He lost his kingdom. Unfortunately for him, he fell amidst people who spotted his potential but didn't want it to rise. So when they saw Simba the first time, he said he was hungry and they were scared. Because when the lion says he's hungry, it's flesh he needs, not vegetable. So they fed him with something different that killed his genius. Africa needs to stop the madness of watching movies that makes us feel little. There's no God of thunder. It is electric charge. There's no looking at mirror and calling your name and you are answering somewhere else. Mirror is mirror. If it works, and I tell people, but you know, Africans, they don't believe me, it's because you've been fed for a long time. You know, we still have some skits that you will stay somewhere and the person disappears. Some people still believe that. If that can happen, trust me, I will become a witch. But I will become a business witch. So cargo don't need to follow transportation. Just bring your cargo. I will just hold it like this. And it will just disappear. DHL will lose business. I went to DHL to send just one small checkbook to somebody in Lagos, 15,000. Hey, see money. I will just say, bring it. I will hold it like this. And you get to Lagos. Trust me, I will not charge more than 5,000. Is that not a good business proposition? They have sold fear and sold falsehood and make us destroy the very image of the great God created just for the fear that there are witches who are coming after your life. I was in a particular prayer meeting and the person came with vigor and he said he sees a vision, half man, half fish, and said we should pray. I told him, I said, what did you see? He said half man, half fish. I said, why has the person decided to be less than human? Because complete human, I can still be afraid. You have now half your power to become a fish. I said, we will not pray. We will first of all chop the fish, chop the under, roast it, and eat it. If the person survives, then we can start with the human. Africa, wake up! People are going to mass. Israel, and I'm not in support of whatever it is, it's not a political statement. Blew up pages. They said, someone said 15 years ago they planted things across the world. We should stop this madness. God gave us a brain. Let's not allow any information dull it. We can build planes. We can build planes. We can build keyboards. I was in a church this morning, and then there's going to be an expansion And they were like, what was usually $3,000, is 3 million, is now 8 million. And the explanation was that dollar is getting harder. What are we producing? We've been sold lies. So SCAR intentionally, because once you get somebody to believe something, you are done with the person. If you have not watched Inception, please collect the movie Inception by Leonardo DiCaprio. Collect it from Iman and go and watch. Once an idea is believed, you are done with the person. You cannot stop an idea that is fully conceived. We have conceived the idea and empower enemy from the village. We need to understand that the enemy is us. So SCAR had a very interesting experiment that worked. Told Simba that Simba was the reason for the death of his father. So Simba left, got to a midst of people that fed him more fierce. So Simba was lost in the crowd. Simba became just like every one of us. Became a life loaded, but aiming at nothing. He was still a lion, but he was living like a goat. He lost his identity. He lost his power. He lost his mastery. Don't be lost in the crowd. So one day, somebody from his past, lucky him, came into his life. And the first thing Simba will say, there's so many things to tell this person. But how do I begin exposing my past? And his fear was that she will turn away from him. So he sang so many things to tell her, but how do I make her see? The truth about my past, impossible. She'll turn away from me. Then the star of the movie said, he's holding back, he's hiding. But what I can decide, why won't he be the king I know? The king I see inside. He's holding back, he's hiding. But what I can decide, why won't he be the king I know? The king I see inside. This mastery class is to represent a friend from a past in your life, asking you, so why won't you be king? One of our business that we run, we say that we will be the king in animal health in Africa. So why won't he be the king I know? So a loaded life could be aiming at something fantastic. A loaded life could be aiming at something, could be aiming at greatness, could be aiming at something bigger. So why will a bus conductor wake up and say, I will be the king in Africa? Because something woke up in me. Sometimes I wish Isa is attending this meeting. I've used this example too much. The moment Isa decides to be a king, his destiny has changed. Somebody came to ask for my advice. I could see the king in her, but she's holding back, she's hiding. But what I can decide, why won't she be the king I know, the king I see inside? Your past will not matter if your desire can drive you to the top. Michael Jordan said he had shot more balls and failed at it. Your past will not matter if you have a desire strong. So we said earlier on, and I want to quickly recap before we move into what we have today. The first, you need a drive. Right. So mastery won't happen naturally. You will need an unusual drive to excel at anything. So we ask the question, what drives you? You have to find it. Is it failure? Is it somebody who believes in you? You have to find it. And you have to stay around something that fun and fuel your drive. You have to stay around something that funds and fuel your drive. Because that's the... So we took a chopper somewhere, and when the person dropped us where we were going, the chopper said, I'm going to Kano quickly, go and come back so that I can fuel. Because he realized that we will not be able to get back to Abuja without fueling. If you are not saving for your fuel, you will always be an average person. I pay for fuel. Once I stay 1 week and I don't feel like waking up to bite more than I can chew. We are doing currently on a project, and each time I hold the meeting, there's a part of me that is excited and a part of me that is afraid. I know in another 6 months, it's not the same Femi Kayode you'll be saying. If something doesn't wake you up, you are fuel deficient. Something has to be waking you up. Waking you up. Like something has to be driving you now. Baba. And you have to put what drives you in front of you. Always, constantly. Isa should go and put Davido and how much they are worth. Because you will get overwhelmed by problem and distractions. You will. It's by default. The environment will offer you plenty distractions. In fact, for people around my age limit, the distraction will become tougher. Because fuel is over 1,000. Dollar is 1.6 going 1.7. So the economy will be tougher. You that doesn't used to think of what you will eat, you will start thinking, hope you know it's a demon to wake up thinking about what to eat. It's a waste of your life. And hope you know that's the system that has kept people average, waking up to think about what they will eat. The decision to go out is to find their daily bread. The moment you just realize that every time you wake up is to meet up your daily needs, just know that you are in a circle of people who are average and are less. You have to wake up for a dream bigger than you, bigger than your circumstances. You have to wake up for a dream bigger than you. And not that I'm not acknowledging that things will be tough. It will probably be. One of my friends said that the wife woke him up, and that happened to me too. Where are we going? See, for us young people, we have more things against us that will make us forget our dream. So what do you need to do? You have to fund and fuel your dream. So if your present circumstances is pulling you back 50%, you have to ensure that whatever it is, don't spend all your money on problems. If this phone falls down and gets bad, you will spend money to fix it, right? When you spend money to fix it, what does it come back to? To the original stage. It will not become an iPhone. Understand that for every problem money you spent, that money will not move you forward. It's not money meant to move you forward. So to move forward, you have to plan problem money and plan progress money. In fact, if you believe me that problem won't kill you, you have to starve some problem. You will not. You know, I keep saying that because I understand it is food that most people, there are 4 or 5 things that distracts an average person like us. Food, accommodation, if you are having children, school fees. Some people's entire money is on those 3, 4 things. Sometimes it could be our family. You check everything that you have spent last month is on problem. You will not move forward. Trust me. This one, I can bet my life. You will not move forward. You will not move forward. So you have to intentionally figure out what is progress in this whole thing I'm doing. You will have to ask yourself that question. But again, this idea for mastery makes you live beyond problems. So you need an unusual drive. And we said you will need to find a model. Find a model. We are all mirror beings. And I love this. We are all mirror beings. You will look like somebody you admire. You will look like somebody you admire. So the faster way to get there is to put a model in front of you. Stay around people who are strong enough to pick you up. It's difficult to stay around those people. It's demanding sometimes. Sometimes you feel less, but hang around. I've always been better hanging around people who are way better than me, and I serve them. You're too alone. You will be destroyed. You will be discouraged. You will be depressed. You will need to find a model. 1, 2, 3 model. That's why meetings like these are good meetings. If you become too problem conscious, you will treat meetings like these as secondary. So your mirror beings, you will need to find somebody to look up to. Last week, we spoke about consistency. And we learned something super strong from our guest last week that said, where you're going to is not far. It's just that you have too many detours. That line, you know, there's some line you come across that stays in your mind for a long time. So I'm alone. I ask myself, what are the detours in my daily activity? Like, I started auditing subconsciously. So what did I do throughout yesterday? What were the detours? Because where you're going is not far. It is the corner you're doing that is making the journey far. Just imagine extreme focus for 4 years. It doesn't take too long to change one's life. It doesn't take too long. So imagine all of us commit to spending the next 1 to 4 years focusing on just one task. Where you're going is not far. So what you need is, once you find something to aim at, stay at it. So what I said last week is set clear goals of what it is that you want to achieve. I have canceled a few detours and I'll be making a few announcements shortly. Right. One of the businesses we run, have a clear goal by 2030 to be $1 billion business. I have refocused all my priority to that, all my genius. And 2030, is this 2035? In another 5-6 years, we'll be at 2030. I will have an additional 40 years to live after, or maybe slightly more, after 2030. So there's still a long time. So what will it take to just be absolutely focused for 6 years and spend 40 years on the beach? Waking, dancing, eating, sleeping, and just enjoying life. What will it take? 5-6 years of saying no to pleasure and giving it all it took. I shared something on our page. 4 years. Can we read it? Something on our WhatsApp page about Usain Bolt. See, where you are going is not far. You have too many detours. That's why. So I opened it. They said early years, a glimpse into Bolt's potential, a turning point, the decision to train for 4 years. Who in this place cannot afford 4 years? Whether You do it or you don't do it, 4 years will come and go. It is you that will either still be an average person or you will be a master. Read it. He said the defining moment. At the age of 17, Bolt faced a critical turning point in his athletic career. After participating in 2002 World Junior Championship, he realized that to truly excel, he needed to dedicate himself fully to training. Hear those words. Bolt made the bold decision to commit the next 4 years of his life to relentless preparation, setting his sights on the 2008 Beijing Olympics. Training regiment and sacrifices. Both training regimen during those 4 years was rigorous and unforgiving. Hey, did you hear that word? Under the guidance of his coach, we are going to talk about a coach shortly, he focused on enhancing his strength, speed, and endurance. Countless hours were spent on the track, honing his technique and perfecting his start. Bolt's commitment demanded sacrifice, including a disciplined lifestyle and an unwavering dedication to his craft. The power of resilience. Throughout those 4 years, Bolt encountered numerous setbacks. His children were sick. His wife woke him up in the night. From injury to doubts and moments of frustration, he faced it all. However, what truly defines Bolt's character was his resilience. In the face of adversity, instead of succumbing to doubt or disappointment, he used those obstacles as fuel. Don't forget I said you need a fuel to push himself even further. The journey to greatness, inspiring others to persevere, redefining the limit. In 2008, Usain Bolt's determination and hard work culminated in a series of extraordinary performances at the Beijing Olympics, breaking world record and leaving his competitor in awe. Bolt showcased the true extent of human potential. His electrifying spirit and infectious charisma captured the world's attention, inspiring millions to chase their dreams with unwavering determination. Was Bolt worth $90 to $100 million? Was that 160 billion? Most of us in our lifetime will not hold that. So I need a commitment to set clear goals and to say the next 4 or 5 years, can we just do this together? Me, I've committed, right? So that's why, and one of the news we are going to release today is to reduce this meeting to once a month, right? Don't be discouraged, right? At least so that we can find time to go and work. Me, doing this mastery, I'm the first beneficiary. Right? Want to really focus and put in all my eggs. Because once you spend another 5, 6 years and you build mastery, build it to the top, what happens? You can spend the rest. Both now said he said he wants to play football. How well is he doing? But again, with 160 billion naira in your account or $100 million with that popularity. So you have conquered enemy from the village, family problem. You will not wake up any day thinking of what to eat. Is that not for Africa to come to that point, for a young man to come to that point, where you know that your entire lifetime, your entire lineage, they will always have what to eat? You know that burden that it will take away from you so that you can live. Set clear goals. Next thing I said, set schedules. Set schedules. This is what I will do. This is the time I will do it. You have to set schedules. Set clear goals, set schedules. You have to track and measure progress. One of the business we run, we look at it every month. Where are we? What's our revenue? What are we doing wrong? What are we doing right? You have to track progress. You have to find, lastly, on consistency, you have to find a coach. A coach can get you somewhere faster. I have a network of people I talk to. I still spoke to one on Friday. I said, we're building to sell. What do I need to watch now? What do I need to do? A coach helps you faster than your learning can take you. So I said, set a clear goal, set schedules, track and measure progress, and then find a coach. So let's go into stages of mastery development. That's what we're going to cover today. I have, let's say, another 20 minutes to do this, then we'll take questions. Stages of mastery development. Stage 1. They call it unconscious incompetence stage. Unconscious incompetence stage. Unconscious incompetent stage. I read this in a book and has been one of those practical things I use to build mastery. The unconscious incompetent stage is a stage where you are messing up, but you don't know you're messing up. Are there people who have body odor, but they don't know they have body odor? Yep. They said when a madman knows he's mad, huh? Yes, his madness is over. So it's possible that something is wrong with you, but you think everything is right. The unconscious incompetent stage is when you are not doing this thing well, but you don't even know you are not doing it well. What do you need at this stage is exposure. Exposure. Exposure is a powerful thing. The reason why people ask questions is because they don't know what it is that they are doing wrong. So, what I do personally is that I go around people who are doing something well, and I put their life, I just put up a plaque in my office, and the plaque had, Eniola, do you know Sam Walton? Go on in my office. My office, what I put on the wall, bring the Sam Walton on, just remove it carefully and bring it. Right. What did I say? Should Sam? Correct, thank you. So, I read Sam Walton's book. I cannot count the number of times. You know, sometimes you read a book from start to finish, and then you will just be opening it to get what exactly it is that you have marked. So I cannot count. I'm not sure if I have an accurate number. I read it until the book got turned. And I'm lucky, somebody sent a fresh original copy for me from the US. So I have a new copy. So, and I've started again. But I will go and archive the old one. Maybe there's something that the line I've drawn. You know, sometimes when you grow and you read something again, new insight comes, right? So I want to leave the one that I've marked and I've torn and archive that one and pick up the new copy and start all over again. So what I did was, because he's late now, I cannot go and see him. I crafted something. Bring it, please. Thank you. I crafted something, and I said, what will Sam Walton do? The reason why I did this is I want to be vulnerable again and expose my life to a table. This is Sam Walton. This is Femi Kayode. What will he do? And what am I doing? What exposure does is to bring, because I don't forget, I already know that there's something in me that will not make me become Sam Walton till I die. It's those things I want to identify. How is he thinking? How did he build? The first chapter in that, after introduction, is the value of $1. Am I being stupid with every cover? So I will draw up a table, Sam Walton. When I read, I will write, what am I doing? And this thing is, I don't wait for somebody to set exam for me. I'm already setting up for my life. Right? This is Sam Walton. Do I like his results? Do I like how he lived and how he died? Do I like the fact that he had made several millions of Americans rich? Google how many staff does Sam Walton have? How many staff? Please, somebody quickly Google. How many? Number of people working in Walmart. Walmart. Yeah, bye. They call themselves associates. So I mean, 2.1 million people working in Walmart. So what madness is in me that makes 60 look like a burden? How is he able to build? How did he build these things? Don't forget, God is not partial. He created us with the same power. But there's something unconscious in me that is making me feel and do things like a stupid person. I have to understand that part. There's a demon in me that will not make me go beyond 60%. So how do I remove that level of madness and demonness? Would it be nice that we have under paid employment every month 2.1 million? How many does Dangote have? Probably slightly around 100,000. I don't have the exact number. So as I begin the journey of exposing myself again to Sam Walton, I needed to put on my wall, what will Sam Walton do? What will Sam Walton do? I needed to draw a table for everything I see that he has done or he did and I'm not yet doing, to tell myself, I need to benchmark. I need to expose myself. I first of all need to be aware that there's an unconscious part of me. Sold. I'm still not ashamed to say I'm a fool at 40. Because I am. So the first stage is unconscious incompetence. And what do you need to do? Exposure. Go to places. Go to around things of people or things or activity that you admire and draw a table. Benchmark what it is that they are doing that I'm not yet doing. The next stage of mastery is conscious incompetence. So Sam Walton is doing this and I'm not doing it. Oh, this is what, there was one of Sam Walton's documentary I watched when he was old. He was in the hospital and then he was on drip and Jack Welch was coming to see one of his stores. This guy flew his aircraft, came into the Walmart store to meet Jack Welch with his Fever catch you, you stop work. There's a kind of drive you will have, fever will disappear. There was a joke I heard of an Igbo man dying. And then he says, guy came to greet him. He said, who did you leave the shop for? He said, who did you leave the shop for? Their Igbo-ness. There's some Igbo-ness blood we need to imbibe. When our goal becomes even subject to our own body. So what do you need at the stage of conscious incompetence? Now you know that you are not doing it well. What you need to do is to learn. 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 You need learning. I went to Lagos. I came back with 17 books. Freshly bought books. And I didn't buy just because I wanted to buy. I already know the stage I am in. I went to the bookshop with one question. What do I need to learn to get out of this stage? By the time you know that you are not good at this, what do you now need to do? The stage of conscious incompetence requires learning. So what's the first stage of mastery development? What's the first phase? Incompetence. What do you need at that stage? Exposure. What's the second stage? Conscious incompetence. This time around, you know what you are not good at. What do you need? Learning to learn. The third stage is conscious competence. Conscious competence. This one, you're doing it well, but you're putting in effort. You know, when you start learning how to drive, you know that you don't know how to drive, so you go and learn driving school. When you get to driving school, they give you a car to drive, right? You're driving, you're conscious. My first car, I burnt the clutch. It was an accident. It was God that preserved me. And the airbag. I was driving, whoa, U-turn. Bam! It was manual I used to learn. Carina E. I think I burned the clutch more than 3 times. You know how to change the gear. You'll be conscious. You'll be driving like the car will be coming. So what do you need at this stage is practice. 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 So you keep driving. You keep burning the clutch. You keep destroying the car, but you don't give up. Hope you know when you are at this stage, you're driving, you cannot pick up. It will be distracting you because you're conscious. How many of us have driven to that point where you forget that you are driving, but a thought has consumed you, yet you arrive at that destination? That's the last stage of mastery anyway. But at this stage, you cannot allow any phone call to distract you. You cannot allow any phone call to distract you. So you practice. You wake up every day. This is the stage that both got to and dedicated 4 years. Waking up, mastering his speed. He had setback. He mastered his composure, mastered the start. This is the stage. And this is the stage that separates people. Waking up every day, just doing one thing because you want to master it. So the third stage is conscious competence. You're doing it, but your mind is there before you can do it very well. So you need practice. The final stage of mastery development is unconscious competence. When you just show up, it works. It falls off on you naturally. Falls up from you naturally. You don't burn clutch anymore. Your leg has mastered how, as you are removing your leg from the clutch, you're matching the accelerator and you can change the gear simultaneously. Some of you can still not drive a manual. There are lazy drivers here, right? Don't go and learn with automatic. I used to plead with people. Don't go and learn with automatic. Automatic drivers are lazy drivers, right? Because the coordination of the three things has to happen almost with a rhythm. The three things are almost at the same time, but with a specific rhythm. And then you change. As you are matching the clutch to change, the clutch is changing, you are putting your leg on the accelerator with a fine rhythm. Before you master this, you will burn clutches. Once you master, you don't burn clutches any longer. At that point, it becomes, your mind will not even be conscious. Even the sound of the engine, your hand will just change the gear by itself. So the last stage is unconscious competence. By the time you get to this stage, what you need is access. So Usain Bolt went to the Olympics because if you are a master and you don't have access for your mastery to be rewarded, you might still not make it. What you need at stage 4 is access. 4 years of practice, being thoughtful, waking up every day, doing the same thing, and getting it through. Usain Bolt got to the 2008 Olympics in Beijing, and a new champion was recognized. Was recognized. May you be recognized, right? That all your years of effort be rewarded. So what are the 4 stages of mastery development? Number 1, incompetence. What do you need at that level? Exposure. Fantastic. Stage 2 is what? Fantastic. What do you need at this stage? Learning. Stage 3, what's it? Competence. What do you need at this stage? Practice. You push until something happens, right? Stage 4, was it? Competence. What do you need at this stage? Access. Let me spend 1-2 minutes and then we'll dive into questions. It's easier said than done. Yes, you're correct. I can come up stage and act like I'm enough. And talk like a master. And that would be a big deception. What we need to realize is that we are all, Africa entirely is on a journey. Some take it, some don't take it. I'm also on that journey. So after meetings like these, I go back and I analyze. I probably do this thing way more than the average person does. And that's why I'm here. I just need one person to commit to doing these things. I'm not saying it will take you 2 months, 6 months. We're talking in terms of years. But in 5 years' time, go and bring the one that has my picture. In 5 years' time, what I have, so I have 4 of these things in my office. The one that has my picture, I wrote, "Who am I becoming?" And all those quotes are questions, because questions drives progress. Questions drives progress. So I want to wake up every morning, get into the office, and asking myself one question. 5 years is not long. 6 years is not so long. But what am I becoming today? What am I learning? So I have it side by side with Sam Walton. I said, "Sam, what would Sam Walton do?" And I asked myself a similar question. Who am I becoming? And why do I have to place these things in front of me? Is because distractions will happen naturally. You will be worried with so many things. You don't even need to print problems to put on your wall. The calls you are getting, will bring problems. That you are alive, waking up and going out, you are expending money. There will be issue around how much money are you making. But regardless of the enormity of those problems, you have to ask yourself, who are you becoming? A bitter person or a better person? Somebody who is solving problems or somebody who is making progress? And progress, don't look at it in terms of, have I built a house, have I not? It's you. Am I becoming a better leader, a better problem solver, a better person that can spot opportunities? Where you are sitting could be good, but if you have not become somebody who spots opportunity, you will not be able to see it. I keep telling myself, is my eyes trained to see opportunity? In conversations, in relationships, is my eyes trained? Some people might have, you could be sitting down or looking in Sokoto. What's in your Sokoto? This opportunity thing, you can be trained to see them. People are jackbarring. The dollar have crisis. Did you see how much GTB declared as profit? The last 6 months, did you see? It's the highest ever. Don't let poor people say that Nigeria is a problem. Check stock of Owando. It went like this and went like this. There's opportunity in chaos. Anytime you sit down where people are saying this country is bad, pack your load, dust your leg, and leave that conversation. And go and look for story. I just told you GTB made a lot of money. Owando stock, go. There are people who are selling their assets. There are people who are preparing to buy it. So you will need to prepare for opportunities. All right, I said I was going to stop 4:45. So let's pick questions. So before we pick questions next week, I want to make it, I'm going to round up the series next week on mastering. But I want us to probably be a lot more engaging for next week. If you've learned anything and you have done anything with this 4-week series, I want to pick those thoughts. I want us to discuss. So if you have, I want around 7 persons to come in, take, let's say, 7 minutes for next week. You just tell us what you have done, what struck you in this series, and what you're doing differently now. So if you want to, you can help me submit. Either say if you're online, yes, we can. So technical team, let's make next week's one interactive, like we made last week's one, that people online can speak into the hall, we can hear them, and then we can talk back to them. So maybe we can get even 10. I'm interested. As it, sometimes to talk, it's easy. To know whether it's having an impact or effect is what's difficult, right? And I want to spend bulk part of next week, from start to probably for an hour, 30 minutes, getting feedbacks. What have you learned and what has really changed, or what are you changing? I think those are some of the things I want to focus on for next week. So if you want to share, take 5 to 7 minutes of next week. You could just submit your name to Jerry or Fed. Then we'll compile that and we will have a go, both online, offline. You could use any of our channel to send a message. It will reach us and then we can profile people. So 10 persons for next week. We're going to reduce this from Sunday to once a month. I know I'd had this issue that I said I wanted to stop this. There's a lot of pressure on me. And this is slightly very demanding for me now. So I want us to make it once a month. Maybe last Sunday of every month. Would that be a good thing to do? Last Sunday. Make it once a month. And by next week, I will be announcing the people who will be volunteering to help us do this. So that the goal is still the goal. We will just modify it a bit. So your vision is still your vision, but your strategy could change or your tactics could change as we progress. So we'll just make it a once a month, put in all our resources, get people to fill this place, and then get adverts and build up to that point. Is that okay? So by next week, I'll be announcing people who will be in charge of that entire process and get it through. So let's take questions. Let's take any question, online, offline. If you're online, you can type your questions and we can take it. If you're offline, you have a mic and we can take the questions directly.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you too.
For here's another opportunity to learn. I've been away for 3 weeks. So my question is on our drive. You made mention of fueling. You made mention of fueling your drive. So I realized for me, usually every Sunday after K-Drive, I'm fired up. Very fired up. I see, it feels like the neurons in my brain, I could literally see them.
Yes.
And it continues like that throughout Sunday, probably Monday, and then by Tuesday, it just starts going down, down.
Yeah.
And by By Friday,
it's completely down.
it's completely down.
Yeah.
So how can we truly fuel our drive? Like, how can we fully fuel our drive in such a way that all through the week we are fired up to go get that goal without our drives going down? Thank you.
So, you know, it was this popular skit person that taught me this anyway, but I'd known the law for a while, that law of Newton's law, a body continue in the state of rest or uniform motion except an external force. So, if an external force comes upset that, it will take another external force, right, to stop it. So the popular skit person said, if external force starts it and it doesn't burn inside, an external force can also stop it. You know, I keep mentioning it, but I sometimes understand that we don't understand the gravity. The system has been designed for you not to rise. I've said that, right? If you leave this environment and you go out, your family, your friends have all been positioned to ensure that you be like them. And you will most likely be. So what has worked for me, and that's what I'm going to say, is that by default, if I'm not doing anything, so I love US politics. And I follow world events. I also follow wars, right? I study Putin, a bit study Chinese people. I listen more to people who are making things happen in the world than I listen to people around me. So look at it now. If I get to the office, there's already 3 people that I respect on my wall, feeding it. Because by the time, it was before, when I get home, matches has finished, gas has finished. I don't want to hear that. So I used to put up front. Pop, take money. Anything that has finished outside that, resolve it. Because hope you know that you getting home and gas has finished can just spoil your entire mood. Or you get home from one of your family members and said they are sick or somebody fell inside the well. You are hearing too many bad news. So it will take deliberate attempt for you to hear good news. In Africa, we were in a meeting and the lady said for every bad thing that they publish, it gets more traction than good things. So just hear that. That bad news they've discovered gets more traction than good news. and what they want is traction. So there is a conspiracy deliberately to ensure that when you wake up, it is bad news you see. You owe yourself to put good news around you. Through the books you read, through the tapes you listen to, through the relationships you keep, you owe yourself. You can even force feed your imagination. How do I know what GTB made last quarter? Like, I just choose to follow people who are making progress. So, for those of us who use Instagram, when I'm feeling depressed, it's Instagram. I have removed everything I don't want to see and put everything I want to see. So once you know, Instagram could be very addictive, right? Once you scroll one and you scroll another one, 9 out of 10 times in my own Instagram is something that will lift me up that I will hear. Either people who are making money, either people are doing, or when you now scroll and hear the JP Morgan Chase CEO says they move $10 trillion every day. So when you're big, you're big. They move 10 trillion. There's some bad news you have heard that has deleted everything good from your subconscious. There was a day, this 10 trillion, I put it on autopilot, autoplay. There's some of these Instagram reels, massive. I sleep with them. You just put them on Jim Rohn. If I sleep on those things, wake up with it. There's sometimes, and you know, this thing, I think you should practice it, right? Either Spotify or Instagram. When something hits you, sleep with it, put it on autoplay. There's a level you do it to critically that you build in internal drive. You cannot, none of you can stop me in this place again. There's no, I will not even pay attention to you. If you come to me with bad news, I will listen to you because I care. As soon as you are leaving, I have swept away that thought. So I quickly decide when any of my relationships meet me and they have issues, I quickly decide, so can I do something? Yes, what do I want to do? Okay, I want to help them solve it. Fine. What do I want to do? Oh, I cannot solve it. Oh, okay, fine. And I just leave them. I pray a simple prayer. God help them. I wait for the time when I will be able to help. I don't hold problem too long in my heart. So, let's just imagine that you're here and you feel fired up, and by tomorrow you are listening to Jim Rohn and you kept firing up, and then Wednesday you listen to Jack Welch, you kept firing on. So every day you plan, how many hours do we spend here? Maybe 2 hours. So you have 24 hours. You just decide that every 2 hours you have to work on your own motivation because it's your own responsibility. 2 hours every day. So that before it goes down and Friday comes in, you have refired again. A time will come, you yourself, myself, you are the one generating this motivation. The society doesn't want you to progress. You have to acknowledge that. They have designed you to fail, to be average, for your genius not to show. It has fed you with vegetables. It's you that will now need to decide that you want to eat flesh. Let's take another question.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for
Thank you too.
Inspiring teaching. So I want to ask, in this journey of mastery, because if we watch carefully, an average Nigerian have this desire and dreams and passions, and then of course, while trying to make progress towards that journey, you get distracted with some legitimate distractions.
Yeah.
And then at times these legitimate distractions will require you to also find a way of building, a system and gaining mastery over them. Now, so is it possible you gain mastery in more than one thing?
Yeah. So
I mean, two different fields entirely, and then you are able to succeed so well in those 2 or 3 different things simultaneously. That's my question.
So the answer is a clear yes. The second part of it is, so why do you want to? So I don't know how well the Usain Bolt is doing with a football career. Did he say he wants to play football after? Or maybe I was thinking I read it somewhere. Football, so so for fun. Well, this mastery thing will take almost you entirely. So what I would advise, or what I think I want to suggest is, money solves a lot of some of the problem we think we want to build mastery on. So I prioritize wanting to make money. There's a lot of issues you will solve with money. There's a lot of issues you will solve with money. So it's not whether I want to build skill on how to make money or not. You will have to make making money something that is of default, right? But again, there are different ways of now making this money. The problem in Africa is that we spend our most productive years, by the time an average person is 30, 35, the only thing he has achieved is he has gone to school that has made him dull. No skill, no nothing. So where does he want to start from? He has to look for a job that will help him pay his bills. Lucky for him, if he gets a good job that will help him pay his bills, he does that till he's 45. And then when he's nearing retirement, he will now start either stealing or thinking. And then the cycle continues. So here's what I would advise, because we're all young, right? So find a path you want to stay in. Second thing, find somebody worthy to serve. And I use the word worthy carefully. No one succeeds in isolation. So while you're building mastery, so money is it, emotional intelligence another thing, there are skills you will have that will help you solve your basic problems. While you're developing those skills, and you now want to what kind of mastery do I want to build? The ability to run big organizations. Not to be a vet. I want to be the leader of a big organization that solves Africans' fundamental problems. There's a skill. Dangote, in the aspect of industrializing Africa, is a master. In fact, after this is refinery fit, he said he wants to pick up steel. He's a master in that. Is Dangote thinking about what to eat? Of course not. So, pick up skills that helps you survive this present stage, but define what one thing. If Dangote says he wants to go and now learn how to play football, I don't know whether, or run 100, he doesn't need that, right? But the skill he has built, he can run a football club. So our advice, you can build multiple skills, but find one that when you build, the whole world knows you. Every other thing can become, because once you master one, it will solve almost all your problems. solve almost all your problems. But while you're building that, build other skills, emotional intelligence, serve somebody. I keep saying serve somebody. I'm not sure if anything has helped me bigger than my ability to serve people. Find somebody that is progressive and stay in their wagon and serve them. In Nigeria, it works. Because wherever, it's just like you're serving somebody and you people are in a same plane together. If they are in 33,000 feet, you two, you are there. Even if you are sitting on the floor, you are where? You are there. Find somebody to serve. Learn emotional skills, and then, of course, find a path, just one path you want to be known for. When you build that path, every other thing becomes secondary. All right, so let's take one last question online. What have you done consistently daily, or what do you do daily intentionally that takes you closer to your big goals? And so I evaluate my activity. So why yes, I saw this online. I evaluate my activity. So look at what I just said simply. That I got Sam Walton's book, and then I'm going to draw a table, write Sam Walton, write my name, and then evaluate my entire self. Each day, I have to ask myself, what am I going to do today that will make me a better person? Who do I need to talk to? Who do I need to see? What project do I need to finish that will tie to the next? So, evaluation. If you don't track your daily progress, I'm not sure if it will ever work. I don't want to say learning, because sometimes you just don't want to read book. You have plenty problem in front of you need to solve, and plenty progress to make. So you just leave books aside, and then you focus on those things and get it through. But again, when you now get to that point where they are like plateauing, and you will need to break that ceiling, the only thing I told us, I will soon shut down for the year, probably take another 2-3 weeks only reading books, so that I can be better prepared for next year. I will shut down sometimes before this year folds up. So again, I don't learn, like consciously learn by books every day, but I know that every day I ask myself one single question: have I moved forward? Am I better? Let me thank us all. Let's allow Fed to come and close. Thank you so much. So next week, please, I want us to invite. If you still don't have a copy, I used to forget to. I wrote a book, powerful book. If you don't have a copy, you will need to have a copy. Online, offline, they can send a copy to you. And then for the next 1 month, we can do a discount. So once you call, you hear what the discounts on the books will be. And then next week, next week is the final of this series. I want us to, let's invite our friends. For November, we only have one. And then after November, we'll leave it for January, because the last week in December, everybody will be partying. Nobody wants to hear anything. So we only have one major one in November, and then we'll see you in 2025. Thank you so much.
All right, can we appreciate Dr. Kayode? Appreciate someone who has. Thank you so very much, sir. I want to say thank you to both our online and then on-site audience. I will recommend this book to you, A Fool at 40. Right? Both online, on-site, you can just drop a comment, group chat, or on our social media platform, and then we'll get across to you how you can get access to one. It's really, really very important for you. All right, so it's already a wrap. Next, we'll be having a final wrap up on this series of mastery, and I want to believe that you are learning, right? I'm not hearing the yes very well. I want to believe you are learning. Yeah, so the best Dr. K is to practice what you have been learning. So next week we'll be having series of different persons to share their experience of what they've learned and how they've put it to practice. And if you want to be a part of those persons, you can put it in the comment for those online, right? Or you can meet me or Miss for, to drop your name to be listed amongst those that will be given the opportunity to come out to speak. All right. So once again, I want to say thank you so much for joining us, and then we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Please make sure you invite your friends, families, and then come and enjoy the final section as we wrap up the topic mastery. Once again, my name is Fed. See you next week. Thank you.